The courier met Mara Song in the rain-shined alley behind Nutrition Ministry, Annex 12 as arranged. He looked barely old enough to have a legal port, but the jack recessed behind his ear was glossy with recent upgrades. He handed over a silvered wafer, no bigger than a postage stamp. "From the chef," he muttered. "Fresh pull. Triple lattice encryption. Taste it, or trash it, but no refund." Mara slipped the wafer into her breast pocket and walked away without a word. Surveillance drones skimmed the sky like tungsten dragonflies, their optics bleached by the sodium lamps. In her left ocular, the ministry's overlay thrummed. Case 887B, unlicensed flavor trafficking. Agent Song, field. She blinked the text away. Back in her apartment, she shut the blackout blinds, disabled the room's self-reporting hub, and sat at the single metal table. The wafer gleamed. It was illegal to sideload an unregistered flavor pack, even for investigative purposes. Protocol said she should bring it straight to forensics, but the protocol writers had never known hunger. Officially, no citizen of the Federated Metroplex ever felt hunger. Nutrient slurry, pumped twice daily through municipal tap lines, provided all sustenance. Flavor was data, streamed from certified servers owned by the Flavor Guild. 32,000 officially sanctioned taste profiles, each lab-tested to harmonize safely with human neurochemistry. The Guild promised perfect satisfaction, a world beyond craving. According to every metric, the promise was kept. Except Mara knew the metrics were curated, just like the flavors. Her mother had been a cull, one of the thousands each year, whose palate receptors rejected the standardized spectrum and who withered despite full rations. Mara had been 8 when the Guild's drones arrived to collect the body. She remembered kneeling on the apartment's green vinyl floor, licking spilled soup off a wooden spoon. Real soup, chicken and garlic, smuggled from the black market and drizzled with love across her mother's failing tongue. She plugged the wafer into the slim transfer slot behind her left ear. The microspines stitched into her cortex. An unregistered handshake bloomed red across her internal HUD, then resolved into a single phrase. "Dinner is served." First came heat, dry, smoky, the smell of burning mesquite, then the snap of black pepper on the back of the throat. Fat sizzled, animal and sweet, flooding her chest with molten gold. She tasted charred bone marrow, sea salt, a whisper of citrus. Tears broke loose. The protocol sirens in her HUD screamed, "Unauthorized sensory intrusion." She forced them silent and let the flavor build. It wasn't just taste. Memory folded around her like velvet. She was 5 again. Campfire at a coastal refugee pier. Some nameless uncle rotating fish over driftwood flames. Salt wind. Wet sand between toes. The sound of distant breakers swallowing the dark. The wafer held her there for 8 seconds, then cut. Her mouth hung open long after it ended, as if her body refused to surrender what her mind already mourned. She removed the wafer. On its polished side, a new etching shimmered. Gaspar Luliano. The name was legend. Black market chef, sensory hacker, a ghost who slipped through honeypot stings for a decade. Rumor claimed he could resurrect tastes officially erased by the Guild. Unpasteurized cheeses, caramelized pork fat, absinthe so potent it rewrote dopamine channels. Rumor also claimed Gaspar had died in a drone strike 3 years ago. Rumor was wrong. Mara poured herself municipal slurry, flavorless by default, and felt nausea coil. She dumped it down the sink and called up her mission docket. Case 887B was no longer a routine sting. It was personal. The Trace Division tracked the wafer's data packet to a sandbox cluster, orbiting inside the city's defunct rail tunnel network. The tunnels had been sealed after the last groundquake, but scavengers drilled fresh holes faster than the ministry patched them. Mara descended through maintenance shafts, wet with coppery condensation, escorted by 2 armored officers. Their rifle-mounted projectors could kill a neural signal at 50 meters, frying cortex implants without spilling blood. She'd requisitioned them herself. Gaspar was reputed to guard his kitchens, with scent-scrambling minds. Yet, as they neared the coordinate, no ambush came. Instead, a warm fragrance seeped through the dusty air. Rosemary, lemon rind, yeast rising. Impossible. Olfactory input required a port. Yet the smell was unmistakable, teasing primal neurons that hadn't fired since childhood. The officers stiffened. "You smell that?" one whispered. "Stay sharp," Mara ordered, though her own pulse jittered. She tapped the sidearm holstered at her hip. Old-fashioned compressed powder, trigger safety still intact. She preferred weapons that couldn't be hacked. They reached a rusted platform once labeled Bentham Station. The entire concourse was lit by candles that grew from the cracked tile like fungal blossoms. Squat tables ringed the area, each set with porcelain plates. Real plates. At the far end stood a tall man in a grease-stained chef's coat, salt and pepper hair pulled into a knot. Gaspar Luliano. He smiled as if greeting dinner guests. "Welcome. I've prepared something simple tonight, a tribute to a mother's pantry." Mara flicked her wrist. The officer on the left raised his projector. "Hands where we can see them. By order of the ministry." Gaspar lifted one flour-dusted palm. The candle flames brightened, pulsing in sync, and the concourse air resonated with subsonics. The officers staggered as their neural ports seized. Both fell unconscious, rifles clattering. Mara's cortex flared, but her implant had a hardware kill switch. She slapped it, severing the port and dumping her HUD into darkness. The sensory mine washed past like a storm she watched through glass. Gaspar regarded her with open admiration. "An unplugged connoisseur. How rare." "I'm no connoisseur. I'm the agent who finally caught you." He chuckled. "Caught? Child, you walked into my kitchen. Sit, or you'll miss the bread before the crust softens." "I'm not your guest." "Everyone who hungers is my guest." He gestured toward a table. Mara hesitated. Reinforcements were an hour out. The tunnels blocked drone flight. Capturing Gaspar alone would be near impossible. He had sonic emitters hidden among the candles, but time with the chef might yield intel. And something deeper tugged, the ember that had ignited when that wafer seared her tongue. She holstered her pistol and sat. Gaspar produced a wooden board, bearing a loaf of bread still steaming. Steam. No digital artifact could replicate that swirl of heat, yet it was clearly visible. She realized the bread was data, projected through her optic nerves, even though her port was severed. Gaspar saw her confusion. "Topographic light field injection," he explained. "No port needed. My own design. For the smell and taste, we'll jack you in, but visuals are free tonight." Mara raised an eyebrow. "You want me to taste contraband, with 2 ministry officers unconscious at my feet? I want you to remember what bread is. Flavor isn't the data. We are. The Guild inverted the equation. They give uniform data to divergent minds and call it harmony. I remix divergent data for unique minds, like yours." He broke the loaf, and the air flooded with buttered wheat. Saliva surged in Mara's mouth. Gaspar offered her a slice. "You control the intake. 1 bite, you know my purpose. 2 bites, you share it. 3, you'll help me finish the meal." Mara reached out, hand trembling. Then she stopped and drew back. "This is coercion. It's invitation. Coercion is what your ministry serves twice a day through pipes." She stared at the bread. She imagined her mother's cracked hands, kneading dough that never rose because yeast was rationed. Imagined nutrient slurry, choking her in school cafeteria lines, painted corporate pink. She took the slice. The first bite detonated. Airy crumb collapsed into hot, pocketed steam. Salt and milk fat pirouetted over her tongue. A neural jack blossomed open behind her ear, not forced, but blooming like organic will. Data streamed through, but it was laced with her own memory indices. She saw her mother's face, laughing, stirring a pot of stew she'd secretly traded rations for. The pot's scent mingled with the bread, until they were inseparable. Gaspar folded his hands. One bite, purpose known. Mara nodded slowly. Tears carved lines down her cheeks. Second bite? He asked softly. She started to lift the bread, then explosions echoed from the tunnels. Reinforcement squads ahead of schedule. Gaspar cursed under his breath. The candles snuffed, plunging the station into gloom lit only by red emergency strobes. Footsteps, shouted commands. Gaspar touched Mara's wrist. Offer stands. 2 bites, we share it. Your choice. I'll be busy. He slipped into the shadows. Mara crouched beside her unconscious officers. Their vitals blinked steady. The sensory mine would wear off in minutes. The bread glowed faintly in her hand. Ministry squad lights danced down the corridor. She weighed duty against desire, protocol against memory. Then she put the slice in her mouth and bit. Flavor deepened. Honey crust, browned butter, the faint iron of a bakery's cast iron pans. But alongside taste came data, a torrent of recipes encoded as fractal flavor notes. Every illegal profile in existence. Coffee roasted above 90 degrees, raw milk camembert, pepper varietals banned for capsaicin spikes, compressed into neural shorthand. The knowledge seeded itself through her synapses like quicksilver vines. 2 bites. Shared purpose. She powered her jack, reactivating HUD. The ministry's TACnet pinged her location, requesting status. She muted it. A 3rd bite waited, but first she had work to do. She slung the officer's projectors over her shoulder, adjusted settings, and strode toward the advancing squad. At a blind corner, she planted the rifles, triggers taped down. When the first trooper rounded the bend, dual beams lanced his helmet, frying the port within. He crumpled. 2 more fell before the rest retreated, hauling comrades. Mara turned back, searching for Gaspar. The station was empty, save for thickening smoke. She called out. No reply. Sirens wailed overhead, surface units sealing tunnel exits. She would be blamed for this fiasco. Protocol demanded she lock down, call for medevac. Instead, she found the breadboard, saw the half loaf atop it. 3 bites. You'll help me finish the meal. She lifted it, bit, chewed slowly. The station melted away. Mara awoke on a cot inside an old water treatment plant beyond city limits. Dawn pressed thin light through cracked windows. Gaspar sat nearby, cleaning copper coils. Welcome back, he said. 3 bites. It's official. How long was I out? 4 hours. Neural assimilation takes time. But you're intact. She sat up. Her mind felt luminous, threaded with unfamiliar algorithms. She could sense the subtle chemical orchestra behind every smell in the room. Rust, chlorine, simmering tomato reduction. What did you do to me? Gave you the recipes, but more. Showed you how to compose. You're a chef now, Mara, a data culinarian. He winked. With benefits. The ministry will brand me traitor. They already have. Your feeds are full of bulletins. Agent Song compromised, armed and dangerous. Approach with lethal failsafes. Her chest tightened. And the officers? They'll live. Partial amnesia. Convenient for you. Mara stood. Beyond the windows lay horizonless desert, a patchwork of slurry pipeline scaffolds. Drone patrols crisscrossed the sky. She faced Gaspar. "What's the plan? You didn't recruit me for table service." "I'm staging a banquet." He set down the coil, eyes glittering. "A broadcast banquet. I'll stream a live flavor burst across every public channel, free to anyone with a port. Unfiltered, uncensored. After they taste real food, they'll never go back." "That's not a banquet. It's revolution." He spread his hands. "Same difference." Mara paced. "The Guild's fail-safes will shut any unauthorized network the second it detects mass push. They've got Sentinel AIs, corporate militias. Which is why I need you. Your ministry access codes, your knowledge of relay layouts." She laughed bitterly. "You think my credentials still work?" "Not the credentials. You? You're a wandering root access, an ex-agent whose neural signature still keys half their back doors. They'll purge you eventually, but not before tonight." Mara inhaled tomato basil vapors, wafting from a distant kettle. Each molecule a dare. She pictured tens of millions slurping gray slurry at breakfast, believing themselves full, because an algorithm declared them sated. She pictured her mother dying hungry in a city of plenty. "I'll help. But we don't just stream flavors, we stream choice. People unzip what they want, when they want. We can't swap one uniform diet for another." Gaspar bowed slightly. Chef's code, autonomy above appetite. They hijacked a maintenance skiff and slipped downriver to the central data reservoir, a cruciform tower laced with neon conduits. From there, the Guild piped flavor streams to every consumer implant. Nightfall cloaked their ascent up an unmonitored fire ladder. Inside, the core node glowed like a cathedral's heart. Hollow statues of corporate founders rotated, preaching the doctrine of palate equilibrium. Mara patched her jack to the overseer console. System recognized her ministry tag. Clearance valid. She exhaled shaky relief. Gaspar unloaded canisters of code-rich gastronomy. Gumbos laced with trumpet mushroom essence, espresso corrugating midnight sugar, duck confit, older than the law forbidding it. Each recipe was an executable payload, primed to unzip across cerebral cortices. Alarms trilled. Sentinel AI flagged unknown assets. Mara dived into root, rerouted Port Authority metrics through legacy testnet stubs. Sweat dripped. Gaspar hummed, kneading invisible dough. 2 minutes, she said. After that, the Sentinel adapts. That's 10 courses in my book. He hit run. Taste detonated across the grid. Somewhere, a commuter on a maglev bite-sipped slurry, and instead received wild blueberry tart shot through with thyme. A child in subsidized housing opened her lunch valve and tasted cinnamon rice pudding. An old dock worker deep in sleep dreamed of rum-drizzled plantains and awoke crying. The Sentinel convulsed, cycling block lists, but every attempted quarantine was another flavor profile. Stifling whiskey smoke, avalanche of saltwater taffy, scalp-tingling bird's-eye chili. The AI's logic core choked on sensation, flickered, and rebooted into failsafe. Citywide ports blinked amber, mandatory diagnostic. For 33 seconds, nobody received official slurry flavor. For 33 seconds, the Guild lost exclusivity that had lasted half a century. "Payload disseminated," Mara whispered. "Then we move." Gaspar hoisted a satchel and signaled toward the exit stair. But steel shutters dropped, sealing them in. Failsafe override. Lockdown. Red strobes bathed the chamber. Mara scanned for manual release, but shouts rose outside. Security teams. Gaspar handed her a filament-thin disc. "Recipes. All of them. You're caretaker now." "What about you?" "Someone must slow them. I'm better with smoke." He pulled a pouch of fragrant powder from his coat and winked. She grabbed his arm. I didn't bite 3 times to watch you die. And I didn't cook 3 courses to run. With a gentle push, he ushered her toward an emergency chute. Serve well, Chef Song. Then he strode to the main hatch as plasma cutters sparked. Mara clenched the disc, swallowed panic, and slid down the chute into darkness. She emerged in a drainage canal lit by siren-pink skies. Drone clusters roared overhead, jamming communications. But her port hummed with encrypted chatter. Millions sharing taste hacks, swapping childhood dishes, blending heritage into novelty. The banquet lived. She activated a low-tech beacon, a brass dinner bell Gaspar had given her. The chime bounced off concrete walls, a frequency ports couldn't ignore. She broadcast one phrase, voice steady. The menu is yours? People answered, first dozens, then thousands, then a chorus, tasting, laughing, weeping. The guild's blockade would tighten, but hunger had felt freedom now, and hunger never forgets. Sirens tapered. Dawn rinsed the canal silver. Mara tucked the recipe disc inside her jacket and set off along the water, mapping safe houses, planning underground kitchens, recruiting pupils. Somewhere above, a tower might burn, and a chef might not walk away. But every bite rebelling across the city carried his signature. In the alleys, people would gather around nothing but air and imagination, pass around hacked data cubes, and taste worlds they'd been told to forget. And when they asked who cooked this impossible feast, Mara would smile and give them the only name that mattered anymore: their own.